Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Expert Interview Series. And today I'm very, very excited because I get to welcome my go-to gal for all things Facebook, the seriously genius and totally gorgeous Emma, whose sole mission is to help you increase sales, revenue, and profit for your business. Now, Emma doesn't mess about when it comes to generating serious profit from Facebook ads and has a glowing fan base of clients who can vouch for this firsthand. And today we've got her all to ourselves to talk about all things lead gen and conversion for your course using Facebook. So it can be very easy to lose a lot of money fast with Facebook ads if you haven't got the right strategy in place. And you need to know this before you get started, which is why I'm very pleased that we've got Emma here today to help us get started on the profitable route to Facebook. So, hi Emma, thank you very much for joining us. Now, you also run your own online course, Facebook Ads Mastery, which walks step by step through the process that you need to know to turn Facebook lights and email lists into paying customers, which means you do know firsthand the do's and don'ts of Facebook ads when it comes to launching your course. So, for those who don't already know you, could you just share a little bit about kind of who you are, your background, the who, what, and why you do what you do?
Yeah, no worries, Dee. Thanks for that pretty sterling introduction there. I'm a bit concerned that both our Bristolian and Southwest accents are going to come out more on this interview.
We're definitely going to start getting more Bristolian.
They are the best accents.
Definitely.
Okay, so my background was predominantly in the corporate world, and then it's actually just celebrated my 4th year in business this May. I came out of the corporate world and found myself involved with the kind of internet marketing world more out of accident, really, because I decided that I needed to market my business. And I had this big dream of being able, the laptop lifestyle of traveling around the world, having my laptop and making money. However, obviously, what I was actually learning about was selling hopes and dreams, which wasn't very effective. So it taught me a lot of lessons in terms of what not to do. More than anything, and it taught me that actually, there is no silver bullet. It's all very much about learning, hard work, and actually implementing the things you go on training courses to do. And then as I went on, another thing was I was finding that people were ripping me off left, right, and centre. So I decided to basically learn it myself because I was getting so annoyed with people spending my money. I decided to learn myself, and then. Gradually, it's just grown. Obviously, meeting people like you, I've just got more and more involved in the industry, and then I've got some amazing clients I work with. And Facebook ads appeals to me the most, really, because you use images with it as well as copy. And I'm quite a visual person, so to actually find that using images and getting that to convert and getting people to interact is what's really exciting to me. And so I suppose with anything, it just kept evolving. And before I knew it, I was realizing that I was running Facebook ads for people. And then I sort of became that expert in that niche, and people kept coming to me for it. And I was like, something's happening here. So then basically took it from there. And now very much lead generation and conversion and sales is very much what I focus on for my business. Obviously, we do cover other bits of traffic as well, like YouTube and Twitter. I always say to people, don't settle on one stretch of lead generation. You've always got to have more. But Facebook is, I suppose, where I'm best known, shall we say.
Yeah. I do love that. You did just kind of fall into Facebook, I suppose. If you're that passionate about something, though, that really means that you're going to get the most from it, and you're going to be able to do the most benefit for your customers because you just actually genuinely enjoy what you do.
Yeah, I mean, at the time I was learning how to do Google pay-per-click and Facebook together, and it just literally, Google pay-per-click just did not interest me in the slightest. It just wasn't going into my brain whatsoever. But Facebook, something just clicked, and I was thinking, I really like this. I'm enjoying this, because it was where I was looking for lead generation for my own business as well. So I was thinking, I can make this work. And then there's nothing better than working with people and being able to actually get them, it's a very tangible result, Facebook ads. So you can actually say to people, well, this is what's happened as a result of you running Facebook ads.
Yeah, and you do put a lot of effort into monitoring and keeping the stats together, don't you? I love the reports that you send back for me. It's great because I'm not a numbers person. So it's really good to see that. So I've asked a couple of questions to some of the course members already, and really just to see kind of where and what the people want to know to get started with Facebook ads for their course launches. And one of the big kind of questions that does pop up a lot really is where to start. And I know that is a huge question, but when you've got this idea for your course in your head, and maybe you've kind of written it and you've really started down the process of creating an online product, and you know that you're going to want to launch it on Facebook, where should you start to make sure that you are going to get the most out of your investment? Because using Facebook ads is a lot of money to spend to get the right results, but it's also a lot of time and energy, because you know what it's like as soon as you put Facebook on. If you're doing it for yourself, you can get absorbed into hundreds of videos of cats instead, and that's not just what I do on Facebook. So where should you yeah. So where should you start when you're going to look to really create a profitable Facebook launch strategy for your course?
Okay, and I'm pretty sure that you probably cover some of this in your course, but one of the things that I found when I first launched my course, and this was taught to me by Claire, and Claire Jarrett sort of mentioned to me it was a good idea to do this, was to actually initially just put out a survey on your Facebook page, so your business Facebook page, and everyone really does need to have a business page for any form of advertising. You can't advertise from your personal profile. I know some people sometimes get a bit confused with that. So from your business page, putting out a survey to people to actually ask them what they want from your course. Now, when I say that, I'm talking about using closed questions rather than open questions. You know, the majority of the questions should be closed, only like 6 or 7 or something like that. And just asking people, I'm about to run this course, what help? I'd really love some help from you to find out what would be useful to you. And then ask them a series of questions with sort of multiple choice questions. Obviously, you're going to sort of preempt these questions and know roughly what these people are going to say, but it's going to give you a really good insight into your target market. The simple way of doing this is just literally posting it onto your page and then turning your actual page post into an advert. Now, I use Power Editor to do this, which is the more advanced Facebook tool, but you can just boost that post. The targeting is a little bit better on that. The rule of thumb with that, which is hopefully something that everyone can do, is make sure you are running it for at least 3 days, and make sure that you have got a budget of at least £5 on each day. If not, Facebook will essentially eat your money.
So as I've heard, like pressing the boost button I was kind of told that that's not really something you should do, but in this instance, does it work quite well?
It's not something I highly advise. However, and the targeting has improved. It's not as sophisticated as it is in Ads Manager or Power Editor. However, for this, you do get enough targeting to be able to do this. So say you have 1,000 fans on your page. The boost button would allow you to easily target those 1,000 people on your page. Or if you're looking at local traffic, you can pick an area or pick a couple of interests. It's not very sophisticated. However, as long as you run it for at least 3 days, if you just put a day on a boost post, Facebook just takes your money. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to build any momentum. That's the kind of rule of thumb that people are saying in terms of boost posts if you are going to do it. So I like to give people the option to say, if you are going to do it this way. Okay. However, you know, baby stages for some people to start with to be able to get some results and get some surveys filled in, it's okay.
Okay. So you, Dan, say before you get down too far down the road of actually creating your course, you want to get started with this basic, simple version of creating a Facebook ad, a sponsored boost post for a survey, rather than, I mean, when people think about Facebook ads, you think about these beautiful, you know, videos or the images and all this kind of the high level ads that you see out there quite a lot. And actually you say, get started straight away with a basic survey on your page that will help feed the rest of your course and your Facebook strategy.
And I mean, I'd say you pretty much hit the nail on the head. And I know that you've got guidance and people of how to structure their course. So it's only really asking for pointers, really. So for example, when I was doing my Facebook one, I say, what are the key things about Facebook advertising you guys really want to know? What you've always got to do with any form of lead generation is go to where the people believe the problem is, even if you know that isn't the problem. So, for example, people come to me for Facebook advertising because their Facebook adverts aren't working. The majority of the time, that's only a very small part of the puzzle. And actually, what's really wrong is the whole funnel and the whole sales funnel in the process. But Facebook ads is the hook. So I've got to lead with the hook, which people believe is Facebook ads.
Yeah.
So by asking some very simple questions, you're going to be able to get some real insights to where your target market believes the problem is. And then when you promote your course, you promote the problem and how you're going to solve it.
So you're using this survey effectively as a way of fueling what your Facebook ads are going to be when you launch your course.
And the other great thing about it is if you get 100 responses, that's 100 people you can then, strangely enough, promote your course to when you put it out. Say, oh, you said you wanted help with this. Well, abracadabra, I'm putting a course together and here it is.
As if by magic, I've solved it for you. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so when you're saying then about looking at the kind of the funnel and the strategy, because yes, Facebook ads is what we're here talking about, but actually, as I know from working with you, that Facebook ads is just a very kind of small part of everything that you put into this. So did you want to just talk a little bit through the kind of steps, or if there's a checklist or a real process that you would go through to start structuring and formatting a successful campaign?
Yeah, I mean, the key thing to start with is what is the end offer? And for your guys on the course, it is going to be selling the course. Mm-hmm. So the end offer or the path to profit, what's going to make them money in the end is selling a place on their course. So you've always got to know exactly what that is to start with. And then you've almost got to rewind right to the beginning and think about how are you going to get that person interested in your course? Because fundamentally, if you just throw out a course on Facebook in the news feed as an advert, say, buy my course, that strategy is very, very unlikely to work unless you have a very low price course. Mm-hmm. So what you've got to think about is what's going to be your irresistible offer on the front end. So what can you give away that's in relation to your end product to entice people in? And for a good example of this is running a webinar or a video series. Mm-hmm. So going back to when I first launched my Facebook course, I ran a webinar about the 8 simple steps to creating a constant flow of leads for your business using Facebook ads. Mm-hmm. I ran a 45-minute content-based webinar. And at the end of that webinar, I gave them the opportunity to get involved with the course. Mm-hmm. But it all started with the webinar. So the adverts that I put up in Facebook initially were for the webinar, not for the actual course. Then what I had to have in place was a follow-up series of emails that talk them through why they should get involved with the course. And also something I know you will be, or if you haven't already covered on the course, is having scarcity both in numbers and time. So are there limited places, and when are you going to close this offer down? So if you give an offer, and I mean, most people that have come into your course probably came in on your offer. Yeah. You gave people a launch price. So if you join by this date, you get to join the course for cheaper. And as the days crept on, because obviously I work with you on the course went up. You know, people aren't sitting there thinking, I must have that course. That's essentially what I need today. They don't wake up thinking about your course. You've got to cause a pattern interrupt to them and make them think, I've got to get it now. And if you're going to take something away from them, either by increasing the price or there's a limited number, it's going to make that person have to make the decision. We're all very, no matter what we say, some more so than others, we're all natural procrastinators. Mm. And there's always going to be life that gets in the way. The cat needs taken to the vet, the child's being on the floor. Whatever that is, that's going to stop you making that. You've got to break that pattern and make them think, right, okay, if I don't get it now, I've lost it at that price and I'm going to have to pay double the money. So there's always the scarcity in terms of the dates and is there a limited number? And then making sure that you can then also put if it was a webinar, you can put a replay up to the people and send that out and make people, so there's the whole process that goes into play that's looking at the end result, and what you're essentially doing is getting people onto the course. A lot of what I see people doing wrong with Facebook is trying to promote a high-end offer straight away. If you just hit someone over the head for the first time they've met you with a £500 course, it's very, very, very unlikely they're going to buy from you. Yeah. It's essentially like going on a blind date and that person asking you to marry them as soon as you meet them. You've got to try and schmooze the person a little bit first.
Yeah, just a little bit. So what would, in your experience of working with lots of people that have launched kind of courses and online products, what's the best schmoozing techniques that you've seen out there?
Well, when we were, and you will remember this well, Dee, when we were at Traffic and Conversion in San Diego this year, it's one of the biggest takeaways we've got was pixel the hell out of everything. And for those of you that are wondering what on earth I'm talking about, essentially what we're saying is at each stage of any Facebook advertising you do, you can capture your audience. So if you have someone filling in your survey responses, you can capture the people that have been to that specific URL, the survey URL, using Facebook advertising. It does involve a small piece of code, and it's very, very simple for to send to your web developer to put onto websites, or if you're using things like lead pages or whatever sales pages you use. Do you talk about that in your program, Dee?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people are using Optimized Press, which I use as well. So it's
Optimized Press is one of the easiest ones to be able to put the code onto the page. And I know that you can do that, can't you, Dee?
Yes. Or luckily I know someone who does that for me, which is great.
So if people get stuck, we can help you out with that. But what you're essentially doing is if someone looks at your sales page, they're essentially at least interested in you. So you could almost consider that like a date. Mm-hmm. You've been on one date with them if they visit your sales page. If you're then continuing, you advertise them again, and then they go on and land on your sales page again the next day, you might have gone on date 2. Mm-hmm. You're gradually pixeling that person, as it's called, to be able to then target them with our course is closing down. If you don't buy now, it's going to cost more. If you've got email lists, if you've got people on your Facebook page, you can advertise to them. You're assuming people on your email list know you already and have got some form of relationship to you. It's going to be much warmer traffic than someone on Facebook that you've never met. So your email list, you're kind of already dating. You can upload your email list to Facebook and you can advertise to them. We all know with email marketing now that, you can get anywhere between sometimes 5% up to, if you've got a good email list, you might get 30 to 40%, or, you might occasionally get a 60% open rate, but that's still a large percentage of people that aren't actually seeing your offer. However, using Facebook ads, you can target your entire list and make sure that they are all seeing your offer. And it's in a kind of subliminal way rather than the email, which some people hate having emails.
Yes, yeah, because I know that's always a big question we get asked quite a lot, is like, should I send another email? But you've got to, sometimes you've got to keep sending those emails.
Subscribe.
I keep picturing, now you're saying about the Facebook ads like dating, and I'm picturing some sort of kind of dating scorecard of Facebook ads, like, yes, you've clicked on this page. And
that's essentially what you do. You build the traffic based on how many times you've dated that person. Mm-hmm. And then you do find, there's 3 sources of targeting on Facebook. There's the core targeting, which is based on either your Facebook page fans and interests in Facebook, such as, say, you might target people that like Nigel Botterill's Entrepreneur Circle, or people that like Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, or the kind of, the information we put into our pages. It's called interest targeting. Mm-hmm. There's number 2, which is your custom audiences. This is your website traffic and your email lists, or if you've got lists of phone numbers that you can upload into Facebook. It's by far the strongest traffic and is going to give you the cheapest conversion price. Mm-hmm. And then Facebook have also got number 3, which is great, which is their lookalike audiences. And this is where you might find that if people have only got small email lists or small, they don't get many website visitors, as soon as you have 100 people in either an email list or a website traffic list, whether it's that landing page, you can ask Facebook with just literally a click of a button to make a lookalike audience. Mm-hmm. What that essentially does is make clones of your email list or website traffic. So it finds people on Facebook via a country with similar interests. So you only need 100 people to get really good data from Facebook. And lookalike targeting is really, really good. The targeting that's available in Facebook is so sophisticated. It's absolutely, keeps getting better and better. And I get quite excited.
I love it. I do like how excited you get about it. And that's why I'm so pleased that I just come to you whenever I need anything created with my Facebook ads, because it means I don't have to worry about thinking about it too much myself. But for those who are kind of trying to do this themselves, or at least setting up to do it themselves to start with, what really do they need to know? There's so much out there. There's so much information out there of what you can do with Facebook, and it is so sophisticated, and there is obviously infinite possibilities of how you can really make it work for your business. But drawing it down to the kind of basics of where people should start and how they should get set up with a bit of a strategy in place, what kind of key points would you say that you need to, start here, do this, talked about that, set it up a survey, and then move on to creating this what's the process that you would recommend for starters?
Okay, the key thing I would say is you need to get your Facebook remarketing code on your websites.
Okay.
Landing pages. That's one of the key things. It's not as difficult as it sounds. It's no difficult to something like Google Analytics. It's a small piece of code. You put it on your website once and then it's done. Mm-hmm. The landing pages, you put it on your websites once and it's done. Okay.
So is that on each specific page, or is it just on your website?
It's basically each Facebook account or Facebook profile has its own one piece of code, which is their Facebook remarketing code. When you first put it on your website, you put it between the header tags of every page of your website. Because say, for example, you add a new website page or you add a new blog post, you want to make sure it's on that as well. But your website person will understand what putting it between the header tags is.
Yes.
Don't need to worry too much about that.
Yeah.
Optimized press is brilliant because it literally just allows you to slot it in, and there's a slot to say header tag here. And there's a couple, there's a WordPress plugin called Code Insert Manager if you want to try it yourself, which again is a really simple thing. Mm-hmm. And actually, I'm going to do a how-to video of that one, so I'm more than happy for your gang to have that, and it will just be a little quick video to talk them through if they have a WordPress site.
Brilliant.
So yeah, and I'll talk you through that. You can have a video for it. It'll probably be easier than me trying to explain this. Mm-hmm. If you have an email list, if you're using email marketing at all, take that list off in a CSV file and upload it again in your Facebook Ads Manager. It's a really simple task to do, so I'm trying not to make this too complicated. This is going to be the basis of your Facebook advertising, because what I'm key for your guys to be able to do is create these lookalike audiences to expand their reach. Yeah. So they're not just thinking, well, I only know 100 people that might be interested. They can find new people.
Yeah.
And then what you do when you put your advert up is you select this audience to target. So I'm not sure in terms of whether people have had an experience with putting up advertising before, but something that you know very much about that I'm sure you'll be covering is the image side of Facebook. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the biggest parts that can make or break an ad, as can the copy.
This is what I always say about visuals.
You know what? It's like, since working with you and getting to know you more, I see it so much more. I mean, you changed the face of my website by literally changing 3 colours on it. Turned me from what was it, to actually liking my website again. And I always look at your stuff and think, yes, I love it. So the stuff that these guys are learning in terms of your colours, they've got their brand colours, they've got their identity. Use this in your Facebook advertising images. So the key image size that resizes well across all of the platforms, so whether it's, you can have the desktop newsfeed, the mobile advertising, the mobile newsfeed or right-hand column, is 1,200 pixels by 628. Mm-hmm. Lots of people that have got your course, if they've got that and they've got access to your incredible program where you can use the templates.
Yes.
It's going to be simple for you. So using those images and, making sure that if you do put on text, it must be less than 20%. If you put on, and there's a grid tool, if you just Google in Facebook grid tool checker, you can upload your image and check that it's no less. Because there's nothing worse than putting up a brilliant ad and it being taken down. Don't get me wrong, occasionally I still forget and I still have an ad disapproved because I've forgotten to check the 20%. They're hot on it now. Check your image first, check it's not 20% or more. Really look at, because what you're trying to cause in the newsfeed is we are bombarded with bits of information every day. So you're calling what's your pattern interrupt. So you want that person to be scrolling through their mobile newsfeed and their thumb to stop because your advert has interested them.
Yes.
It's got to cause that break in that person's day of the mundanely scrolling through the newsfeed, which I know we all do. I'm trying not to.
Flicking through your phone.
Remember us in the hotel going, we've just spent half an hour doing nothing, looking through the Facebook newsfeed.
Facebook, Instagram, email, repeat.
And then we decided we needed to go out.
But it is true, like with Facebook especially, people aren't, obviously people aren't there technically to be looking for business. Now I spend a lot of time on Facebook with my business head on, and I do enjoy going through a lot of the adverts to really kind of see what people are using, and go through the process and the funnels, just because that's what I enjoy doing in my spare time. But a lot of people using Facebook aren't necessarily there with that mindset. So you really do need to make sure your image, first of all, gets people clicking onto the advert, because you could have the best offer and the best course available, but if nobody's going to click on it, first of all, because they're not interested through that visual, they're not going to find out.
You've just made a really interesting point, because basically if you're finding no one's clicking on your ad, it's bombing. Don't waste any more money. If within 48 hours you're finding that you've got, people aren't responding to your ad, it's not working, turn it off. For God's sake, don't bang on for 7 days wasting money, knocking your head against a brick wall for an ad that's not working. It can be simple things like it needs tweaks, and this is where people become smart marketers. I put up Facebook ads and funnels now that bomb. One of my mentors I work with said he put up 8 funnels. This guy has spent a fortune, on Facebook and works with very high-end clients. He put up 8 funnels and he said 5 of them bombed. This is what happens. It's reality. Don't get too disillusioned if you put up a Facebook ad and it doesn't work straight away. It's about looking at it and saying, okay, what can I make better? Have I got the targeting right? Is the message calling out to my target market enough? Because if they don't respond to it, the biggest thing you've got to worry about is an action of your marketplace. So the quicker you can identify that in action and actually make the change, the better you're going to find you perform, and the less money you're going to waste.
Yeah. And that's where you look step by step, don't you? So first of all, if people are clicking on it, right, great, we know that we've got that bit working, and then keep refining through the process. Yeah,
so you've got that right. So people are clicking on the advert, but then they're getting to the landing page, and then for some reason they're not opting in if you had an offer. So if you're giving away a free report or a checklist or a webinar and they're not opting in, then there's something wrong with either the landing page isn't right, or the targeting you're doing isn't right, or the way you've written the copy. There's lots of things you can think about, and this is how you become a smart marketer, is you look at what's going on, rather than just turning around and saying, I get so many people say to me, I've tried Facebook ads once, it didn't work.
Yeah.
It's like, I've tried Facebook ads lots of times and they don't work.
That's a really valid point though, because it can be quite hard. You do get a little bit, especially if you're doing it yourself and you don't have someone kind of mentoring you and guiding you through the process, it can be like, you hear all these stories about people having amazing success with Facebook ads and amazing success with their funnels and all these launches that are brilliant in there. People love to talk about all of the successes. What you don't hear so much about is the fact of how many things they've put out there, how many things they've tried and tested that have completely bombed. They're not going to tell you that, no. So that does happen, and it happens to everyone, as you say. And it's great to know that you work with some you work with some brilliant guys, and you put Facebook ads out there all the time. And it's refreshing to hear that, some of them don't work.
Yeah, and you've raised a really good point that would be useful for your guys to start doing, especially if they're looking in their niche, is start actually looking at what gets your attention in the newsfeed. Start looking at what other people do. Sign up to other people's offers and start getting used to that funnel process that you're teaching in that course. Of, okay, what's the offer they're giving away on Facebook? What happens when I opt into the offer? What are the emails like I get sent? And what's the thing they're trying to get me to buy at the end?
Yes.
When you start understanding that process a bit more, you can then start seeing how you can make yours fit into that pattern.
Yeah, definitely. And I love doing it. And it's always good, definitely, to track what people are doing. But obviously you're looking at the process. You're not copying what other people are doing, because there are, and I know that you know that, and you're not suggesting that. No, but
there's being inspired, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing in marketing design tends to be new. It's all repackaged and reworked in it, but put your own slants on it. You've got this is what you're doing. So what's your favourite phrase? Screw different, be more you. Stick to that. When you're putting stuff out there, it's do what you think is right. Yes, it's great to get inspiration, and you've got to always think it. Success does leave clues. So if someone's ad has loads of clicks and loads of comments on it and loads of likes, something's going right there for them.
Have a little look, feel inspired by it, see what feels right to you for your business and your brand and what you're offering, and try it, and then try it and try it again, and just keep trying new stuff until it works.
We found before it's like, and I know why, but we put your face out in the newsfeed and it converts.
That is the funniest email I've ever had from you. Literally, your face converts. Like, thanks.
Your face converts. It just does. But we tried a similar campaign with someone that was high end, male, not quite as attractive as you. It didn't work. I'm not going to name names. But the face in the newsfeed didn't work. Yeah. You know, so it's I see it all the time. It's like, it seems to be like the instant thing of, I must put the face up. But again, unless people know you, they might wonder why you're looking at your face. I mean, unless you look like you do, then
well, I do hope that people click on my links for other reasons than just looking at me.
I think that is the case.
Yeah. Brilliant. So other than not having the right face on your Facebook ads, what are the big, I mean, you touched on a couple of the big mistakes that you see people making, but what are those kind of real humdinger mistakes that you see people making when it comes to put in that, well, especially when it comes to trying to sell their courses through Facebook ads?
My favourite is the good old stock images. That's one of my favourites.
Oh God, don't talk to me about stock images.
I mean, fair enough, you might not have the best images. Not everyone has and not everyone's got, but you can at least edit the stock images. So you put your own slant on said stock image. You can overlay colours on it. You can put, words on it. Because what you've got to remember is if everyone's using stock images, is anyone could be using the same image as you and putting it out in the newsfeed.
Yeah, and then you can't distinguish between your offer and if you've got the same picture of the same person.
Different. So you've got to be unique. It's like, is your offer unique and is it going to interest? Is your offer calling out to the people you're after? So are you actually, can they read your advert? It's like if you had a billboard, you're walking down the streets, essentially what you're doing. It's just now on Facebook. Mm-hmm. If you were walking past, if your target market was walking past a billboard, are they going to suddenly be slapped in the face with it and think, I must have this? Because that's what you're trying to do with Facebook advertising. So, what I see so many times is people talking about, it's the me, talking about like how great their offer is, and they lead with the offer. They don't lead with a solution. So they'll lead with, here's my course, it's great, you must have my course. I've got a course, by the way, it's course
that you need it.
Yeah. Whereas if you're leading with the solution, so for me it was how to create a constant flow of customers for your business with Facebook ads.
And that's so much more attractive, isn't it?
It said nothing about, I've got an 8-week course I'm going to sell you at the end of it. Right. It said about, this is what you guys are looking for on Facebook, is you're looking for leads.
Yeah.
So what is the problem you're trying to solve? Obviously, you do have to be careful with the language on Facebook. The copy has to be positive. It can't be direct response, like pushing the pain points. And I say this because I obviously work in the health and fitness industry a lot. And when people putting out adverts saying, are you fat? Do you need to lose weight? That's a big no-no with Facebook. It's got to be a much more positive slant. So are you looking to tone up in time for the summer? Mm-hmm. You can get that approved because it's not pointing the finger at anyone. You can't basically make anyone feel like crap with your advert. Would essentially be what I'd give advice of.
To be nice, really, just be nice.
Yeah, it used to work. It's like, but they did a big survey and saying that people were finding they were coming off Facebook because they were depressed going through their newsfeed. Yeah. So they were thinking, oh my God, my life's awful. Oh, now it's even worse. I've just been on Facebook for half an hour.
Yeah, so definitely, avoid the negative stuff.
Get positive and tell them you're going to solve the solution. Basically, you're going to give them a solution to that problem they've got, whether it's lead generation and your thing of making your stuff look good instead of looking mediocre and low end. You're going to make it look effective. Have you got any examples of what courses people are putting out there?
Within within the group at the moment? Yeah, we've actually got quite a few creatives in there at the moment. So we've got a couple of ladies who are within the kind of the design, interior design looking wise. We've got an artist with an art gallery. So there is actually quite a lot of creatives in the course at the moment.
Yeah, so for particularly for the interior design, it's basically working out what that end person wants, which is obviously a beautiful, to look the way that they've always wanted their dream house to be. Mm-hmm. So if their front end offer is 7, either you could go with the mistakes. There's 2 ways of doing this. 7 mistakes people always make when designing a new room. Mm-hmm. best or something like that. Or you can go with the more positive of here's your checklist of what you need to do when you're redesigning a living room or something like that. So it's kind of getting that interest of people that you're going to help solve that solution.
And lists as well. Lists tend to work really well.
Yeah, lists, checklists, cheat sheets.
Yes.
Please, ebook's one of those ones now that's been banded around a bit now, and people are a bit sort of like, yeah, I've heard of an ebook now. Call it a report, call it a blueprint, a system. Yeah, something that's a bit more enticing for people.
Yeah, it's still effectively an ebook because it's technically an ebook, but just don't call it an ebook.
Yeah. Video series are great. Video on Facebook is working really well. It's pretty simple to do as well. You can do it on your what I'm seeing all over it's raw videos convert a lot better than all these fancy videos. So literally having your iPhone and doing videos and using that for advertising can work just as well.
Mm-hmm. And you can get some good quality from with your iPhone camera.
Yeah. Oh, you totally can. Just don't watch it back too much. It's worse than watching videos back of yourself.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, it is tricky, but there's a good thing to do for getting used to hearing and seeing yourself speak professionally. But
watching this back,
no, it's always, especially I'm sure we've probably slipped a little bit more into the Bristolian twang as we start speaking with each other.
I had that the other day. I was on a coaching call. They just went, "You've just dropped several R's into your words." I was like, "No."
I love it. We like our West Country side. So we are coming kind of up now to around a kind of about 35-40 minutes, and I like to keep this as much as I can kind of under the 45-minute zone, because I know that we could sit here and talk about this for ages. So let's start to kind of wrap up and end with kind of one thing that everyone can do today, right now, straight away after this video, to go and make sure that the Facebook ads that they either currently have or that they're thinking about producing for their courses are going to be effective and really help them get on that kind of profitable ladder of using Facebook strategy for their business.
Okay, I'm going to do 3 things.
Okay. You're a rule breaker.
One is get that survey out. There's a free piece of software called popsurvey.com. It's got a 60-day trial, and you can basically ask. It's really quick to do, and it builds your email list for you. Get that up on a Facebook post. If you know how to do it as a proper advert, empower others to do it. If not, boost it. Just get it out there. Mm-hmm. Number 2, upload any email list you've got into Facebook, so you can create audiences from it. And number 3, get that Facebook remarketing pixel on your websites and your landing pages.
Brilliant. That's okay. We'll allow those 3. They're quite simple 3.
That's the ones I've been talking about throughout this, so I just thought I'm going to go with 3.
Yeah, go with 3. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Emma. That's been really, really useful and always absolutely lovely to talk with you.